Hi, this is Ernest O'Dell, and I'm recording a real quick how-to for some of my team members. And what we're going to be discussing is how to write and format your emails for your autoresponder. And I'm going to go into a short deep dive how you can format your emails and make them readable on most devices using the ruler like I use, or the ruler inside of Google Docs, because they might not all look the same on mobile devices, but on most of your laptops and desktops, you'll see what I'm talking about. They'll look better. And down below in the description, you'll find a link to these two books, okay? These two books were written by Yannick Silver back in 2001, I think, right after Y2K. Y2K, of course, was 2000. These were just before 9/11. So Autoresponder Magic and $1 Million Emails. I have a couple more documents, but these are about 500 pages each. Autoresponder Magic, if you look at where my cursor is 519 pages. And $1 Million Emails is 215 pages, okay? The only thing that you really kind of need to concern yourself with is like about the first 12 or 14 pages. And it'll go through self-explanatory. I'm not going to explain it here. I will show you in a working email, okay? This is not a copywriting course. This is basically formatting your email to make it readable and legible. I will say this on both of these documents, just about most or all of these links are dead. It's been 23 years since this thing was written. So some of these are still working, like Aweber. It'll open up in a new tab on your browser, but that page is a little slow, and I think it still goes to Yannick Silver's affiliate account. So, if you set up an Aweber account through his link in that email or GetResponse, he'll get credit for the sale, okay? So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and close the PDFs, and then I'm going to close this, and we're going to get to work on the emails that was sent to me. Now, when somebody sends you a document like a Word doc or an Open Office ODT doc or a template or a docx from Microsoft Word, you can open it up in your email and it'll spawn right here. And then if you're using Gmail, you can download it and open it with Google Docs or one of your favorite apps. You can connect to more apps if you have them on your computer. It'll go and look for, stuff like GPT Workspace. I'm not going to get into the AI portion of this, okay? So basically, this is one of my team members' email, and he asked me, to kind of help him with it and brush it up. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to write full width on your emails in the emails. This is okay for your rough draft. So what I did is I downloaded this into my Google Docs and opened it up with Google Docs, and I have it right here. All right. So what I've done is I've made some suggestions, okay? And what I'll do sometimes is I will create a ruler, all right, using this ruler right here, because that's the the left index of your page in Google Docs. I love Google Docs, okay? What I do is, okay, message number 1, here is his original text, and I've copied it down to down here, okay? And what I did is on page 3 of this doc, it's about 5, 6 pages. After I take out all the white space and extra space, it'll be 4 pages. Is I said, Mark, here's some suggestions that I would make if I were using these emails, okay? Message number 1, the Everyday Situational Series from Greg Davison. Mark's got a subject line of, I cried terribly as he breathed his last, and then ellipsis, ... Okay, so here's what I would do real quick. I might say something like, I know men are not supposed to cry, but, all right, so that sets up a tone of curiosity. The point of a subject line is to sell the click, get them to open the email, okay? And then I come up and say, okay, and then I would pick up the rest of the copy in the body of the email, but that's just me, okay? I've been doing copywriting since I was about a senior in high school. I've been editor of newspapers, and writing articles, for newspapers, freelancing for 50, 60 years. I think I was 16 or 18 at the time I was a senior in high school. And I've been writing for church newsletters. The church bulletins every week had to be, put out. So that was back when we were using old technology and IBM Selectric typewriters, Smith Corona portables, and the old Underwoods. I've got a typewriter in my office that's probably over 100 years old that my dad used to bang his sermons out on, okay? So here's what I would do with a word processor. Makes it much easier and faster. Then he comes up with this subject line, okay? I thought to myself, is this all there is? Okay, so there's a little bit of curiosity there. You can do that. On this one, I might make it a bit shorter and just ask them in the subject line, is this all there is? Okay. Right here, okay, I would capitalize the I. Is this all there is? And then take the ellipsis out and put a question mark, okay? So what I'm doing here is I would take something like this, and that's my subject line. I would say, is this all, is this or is that all there is? So that's a point. That's kind of up to you. Now, what I would do is I would put a hard line break, or what they call a carriage return, between each sentence to keep it down around this 40 character mark. All right, so if you're taking this and scroll up with your text, now this is the text right here that we're basically going to be using in the email, all right? And then he signs off with a signature. All right, so I would break this up and I would use this carriage return right at the 40 character mark. All right, so it's kind of even with this. Another way to do that is if you wanted to slide this over to 40, you could do that. And it would show it on the arrow. But as long as you remember to hit it with a hard carriage break. Now, how do you take the double space out? Okay, that's another thing that you've got to do. So what I would do is go back and then start right here. On my long text, I would come up and find format. I'm looking for text and style, normal text here. I would scroll down to here. Well, they don't have a div break, okay? So we're going to have to use normal text. And then remember that when you take this, I scroll down to here, and since the word permanently is longer than the 40 character break, I would backspace that space out and break it again. And then I'd go here, and then I would break it again. Now, and here's another thing. In the old days, we were taught in typing class to use 2 spaces to start a new sentence. In modern technology with word processors and stuff like this, online or offline, it's really not necessary. We just, everybody's been going down to 1 space in between sentences, even if you're using a quotation. Now, I did 2 line breaks, 2 hard line breaks to start a new paragraph. So instead of making 1 long run-on paragraph, break it up. It makes it easier. Okay, and here reoccurring is going to be a little bit beyond the 40 character mark if we come up here to the ruler. So what I would do is I'd backspace that out, break it, and because this is right at the 40 character mark, delete those 2 spaces, break it again. Then, you want to make it conversational, like you're talking to somebody, and you say, fighting back the tears, this was my recurring thought leaving the hospital unit. Now, you'd say, what did this mean? Let's put that in its own paragraph. What did this mean? You can put that in quotations, and then you can even italicize it, okay, and go back here, and Control I will italicize it, and then we'll put another quotation mark, delete, take those 2 spaces out. Remember, this is new technology. We were taught that in typing school to use 2 spaces. We don't need to do that anymore. Plus, the less is more. The less byte or bit size space you use in an email, the better. It makes it deliverable. Okay. So we'd say, what did this mean? Delete, break, break. If you did that, if you're setting it apart like you would do points or bullets, then you don't need the quotations. You could just, italicize it like it's a thought. Okay. Now we get down to the end. And remember, this is going to be in an email. So you're not going to see page breaks in an email. All right. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Then it hit me. There is no more can't. Put that in quotations. And then you might give it some emphasis. okay, and give it a bold. Make it stand out. It makes it readable. It catches people's attention. Okay. Then you can say something like, then it hit me. There should be some punctuation in here, either a comma or an ellipsis. All right. You're breaking this point apart. Take that out. No more excuses. All of us have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to be successful in all areas of our life, okay? Then you might come down here and we see that the beginning of the word responsibility would go over the 40, all right? So I would break that, break it here. Since time waits for no one, you can make that a separate paragraph, okay? Break it up, a lot of white space, have people scrolling through because people tend to read in little bits. They will scan and they will read tidbits. So you don't want to crowd up. And if you put your hand in front of you to the monitor, you don't want anything wider than the width of your hand. So if you put your hand up to the monitor right now, you're basically going to cover up what you're looking at, okay? You don't want it scrolling off. So if you look at this space down here, okay, and put your hand up there, put your hand up next to the left margin, you're going to see some overflow, okay? So you don't want that. So this is how we break it apart. And then we get to here. I don't want it going over 40. And this is probably right at close to 40. If it goes over by one character, it's probably not too bad. Learn how you can earn an extra $600 per day. Then I'm going to take this, back it up down here, and then my sign off until next time, okay? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how it would look in an email, all right? And then here is the beginning of the edited text, because remember, this is page 3. I copied the first 2 pages and I made copies for edit. So the original is way up here on page 1 and then page 2. Now on page 3, we're working on the edited portion of message number 1. All right. So I've come down here. This is the beginning of the body. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to scroll down. Let me start over here. I'm going to take that and Control-C, Charlie, copy. And I'm going to open up a new notepad. I'm old school. I use Notepad a lot. And I'm going to blow it up, full screen, 12-point system. Now what it did is it took those extra line spaces out. So here I would take this, copy all that, all right? Well, what about these bullet points? Okay, so I probably want to separate those by a line. Because right now in the actual Word copy or the Google Doc copy, they're separated, but here, when I transfer them to Notepad, they run together, okay? Then we would embed our link to the website by highlighting in the Autoresponder editor. and then placing our link in there. I'll show you how to do that real quick. So back over here, I'm going to go over into my account, and I'm going to jump into Jeff's account over here at Better Income. And we want to go to the emails. Let me go over to the old school legacy system. I'm looking for the email editor. So what I would do is I would create a new campaign. I'd say add campaign. And here I would give it a name. I'm going to say new gold accounts. All right. Because let's say I'm just going to send this to my golds. Okay. First, I'm going to say, no, I would like to create my own campaign. And here we've got add a new email to this campaign. And we've got to have a name for it. Okay. So what did we have over here? The title was, I cried terribly as he breathed his last breath. You're giving him too much information. Okay. You might say something curious like, I know men are not supposed to cry, but so let's say on this one, I've thought to myself, is that all there is? You know, instead of that long sentence, I would use something shorter. So let's say I cried like a Girl Scout with her wedgies pulled up in her. Well, no, we don't want to go there. Or, you know, let's say something like, I cried like a Girl Scout, or grown men's not supposed to cry. But God gave us tear ducts like women, so I guess he knew what he was doing when he installed tear ducts on men too. So let's say I know men are not supposed to cry, but, so let's go over here and type in, you can copy and paste it if you want to. I know grown men aren't, you don't want to use contractions in an email subject line because it'll chop it off and truncate it. So I know grown men are not supposed to cry. Let me show you what that looks like. If I put this into a contraction, take that space out, take the O out, and put an apostrophe in there. Now the email comes up, all right, it shows the contraction, all right, and it's up here. However, when you send it, when it actually goes out in a broadcast or in a series, excuse me, a lot of times what it'll do is it will truncate that, and it just looks goofy. And well, out of curiosity, some people might click it anyway. Okay, so I'm going to do a Control Z, and I'm going to leave that, take that apostrophe out, put an O in there, and put a space in or not. So this way I know my subject line doesn't get truncated by the system. Some do and some don't. This one, I've had it happen to me when I use quotes, the ampersand, apostrophes. Sometimes it doesn't like it. So now I'm going to take all that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this down a little bit so I can see what all I'm doing. And I'm going to paste what I just copied from the Google Docs, okay? Now I'm going to Control A, Alpha, select all of that text, bring it back up here. Then I would use over here in the editor, the normal div, change the font to Verdana. And then I'm going to go on the size. I'm going to bring it to 16. That makes it readable. Now, here's where I got to go and clean it up. You can use their first name tag if you want to. If you're personalizing it, you can do that by coming up here and using the variable for the recipient's first name. Or you can say something like in a salutation, hi, first name. And if they were filling out a one-part email only form, then their email address would show up here. Okay. If they filled out a two-part form where it asked for a name and an email, then their first name would be in there. If you had a full form and they put in their full name, it would truncate the second name. It would only plug in the first name. So it automatically, separate it. Now here, we're still looking at approximately 40 characters wide. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me go back over here. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. Now, my text is overflowing because I'm using dashes. So what I need to do is take this and change that to Courier New so that it shows a standard ruler. Now, before you save it and send it out, you want to make sure you take that ruler out because you don't need to be using a ruler in your distribution. But it's a good rule to have here because over in Google Docs, you've got a ruler, but here you don't. All right. So if you're working with it in raw text, this is, we're looking at a good clean email. Now, all right, I would take that and copy that, paste it to make sure that everything's looking right, paste it again. Now, what I'm looking at, okay, is what did this mean? Here, you don't want to use bullet points, okay, because you're not bulleting information. What you would do is break, okay, and then come up here and highlight those 3 lines, Control I, and put them into italics to make it like a thought process. Break it up. Remember, lots of white space, okay? That's that empty space, okay? Then we're looking at the ruler here, a 95-year run of life just ended. You can change that text and say just ended because there's a character, there's a space, so it was all part of one sentence. You can break it up if you want to. You can come up here and say, instead of a 95-year run of life ended, you can say just ended. Okay. You don't want to get too wordy. You don't want to get too verbose, but then again, you want to make sure that your text flows like a conversation. And then you say, then it hit me. In the original text, it didn't have any punctuation. Then it hit me. You could put in a colon or a comma, or as I showed, an ellipsis, because an ellipsis shows a continuing thought. Then it hit me. There is no more can't. Bang, bold it. Then I would come down here. Whoops. Break, break. Then it hit me. There's no more can't, no more excuses. All of us have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to be successful in all areas of our life. So there's not too much change in your basic copy. I'm not going to do both emails, but here, what you're looking at, you could say, since time waits for no one, then now is your time. So you want to get too wordy. You might want to say something like, since time waits for no one, and now is your time to join this amazing step-by-step proven platform. You might tell them what that platform is. The Home Business Pro. Okay, so that's an idea. Now here, you can say, learn how you can make an extra $600 per day from home. You might shorten, take out some of the words. Continuing thought, ... from your kitchen table. Okay. Call to action. You can come down here once you learned how to use an editor, learn how you can earn an extra $600 per day from your kitchen table by clicking here. And then you would highlight that, boom, boom, by clicking here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to our link and embed a link in there. And if I remember correctly, your link is https://www.gman1.com, because it is on a secure socket. Okay, and it's showing the little lock up here. I'm going to highlight that whole string and copy Control-C, as in Charlie. Then I'm going to paste it in here, and watch this protocol. It's going to change from HTTP to HTTPS, and then it's going to take that off, where now it's going to show HTTPS, https://www.gman1.com. And we want to set our target for it to open up in a new tab when they click on the link. Now, it's still highlighted, so what we're going to do is we're going to just underline it so it kind of stands out. If you want to give it a little bit more color, you can come up here to your color and select this one here, navy, and it makes it a little bit easier to decipher. You want to get a little bit more emphatic, then give it a bold and italics, okay? So now it looks like a clickable link. So when it arrives in their email, they're going to be able to click that and it'll take them over to your website. And then you can sign off until next time. And don't forget to use a PS. You say something like, oh, and by the way, we have a team of over 47,000 members to help you. So you're not alone. And then what I do is I give it a lot of extra carriage returns. You see that bar over here? It's going up because now I'm going all the way down here to the bottom. What's going to happen when they receive it? Your unsubscribe link will be down at the bottom of that email, but it's got a lot of carriage returns. And how I show you that, we'll go up here and look at the source code. We get through with all the text, and now we got all these breaks. Those are line breaks, okay? And there's the end of the document. It always puts a space in a div, okay? So that's the source code. Now, what I would do here is I would save that, save changes, and then I would send myself a copy. It'll send it to your registered email address. Now, since this is Jeff's account, I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to send it because it would send him a copy with Mark's name on it and Mark's deal. But, you know, then you could use it for a broadcast, okay? Something like this, okay, what would I do? Then I would get all my golds, and there's a process. You'd have to move all your golds into another, what they call a group, all right? So how you would find your golds, you go through your prediction report, find the golds, then go through a search. This is a separate lesson in email, so I'm not going to do it here because it take too long, okay? We're not going to save this email. I'm going to delete that campaign and say, yes, delete that campaign, all right? What we can do later is I can write an email with shareable links and give everybody the share code. So if they wanted to do that, then they could, you know, just send the new gold accounts. But you still have to move your gold accounts into a separate group. You don't want to just blast everybody. You know, let the email series do the work. Strike 1, 2, 3, you know, when you call your gold accounts and they don't respond, leave them a voicemail. If they don't call you back, then send them a text. Okay, after you send them a text, you send them an email. This one either manually through your Gmail or your Yahoo, whoever you're using, and introduce yourself and kind of send that to them. Or you can put it into an autoresponder for a broadcast. If you're not comfortable with setting this up as a broadcast and using it, I'll do a separate course tutorial on it. Then just send it to them manually, okay, through your Gmail account. So that's it, okay. I just deleted that account so it doesn't show up. And I hope this helps you. I'm going to stop sharing. So look on your video down below this video on YouTube for the description and the links to those PDFs. Go through those PDFs, I'd say about the first 12 to 20 pages, and they'll help you. You can read through the rest of them, but the first 12 to 20 pages will give you a lot of information on how to format your emails and make them look good, okay? You can use Google Docs to work a lot of templates and play around, or you can use Notepad if you're old school, and then copy paste it and then start embedding your links. That's kind of advanced, but if you're doing it in your Gmail, if you want to embed it, there's a way to do that in Gmail too, okay? So when you reach out to your people with these emails, you want to call them. If they don't answer, leave them a voicemail. If they don't call you back, send them a text. If they don't respond to that, send them an email. If they strike three, then just let the autoresponder do its job and go on from there. And I would only do that with people that actually went gold. I wouldn't do that with everybody, okay? So I hope this helps. If you have any more questions, feel free to give me a call at the number below this video. Give us a like and a love and some thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to this channel and stay tuned, because we will send you more information as it comes up. Thank you. Bye. This is Ernest O'Dell signing off.